Hello. My name is Annie, and today I've got a very special cash stuffing. I'm redistributing my taxes. So I'm self-employed, and every month I put away some money to pay the tax office. Now, I just do a rough calculation of how much I owe plus, some of the bigger deductibles. But I've just come home from the accountant and I have overestimated by quite a large margin, actually. So while I do owe the tax office some money, it's nowhere near as much as I thought it would be. So I, only owe a few thousand, and I get to redistribute $3,100. So I do have some of it in cash. I never have cash, right? I am primarily a digital cash stuffer. I do this because I have an offset account, which is a bank account linked to my mortgage. And for every dollar I keep in my bank account, I can reduce the interest I owe on the home loan. So it is very tax advantageous. Speaking of taxes, we do not tax any money, as in $0, kept in an offset account in Australia, whereas if you have a high interest savings account, we do tax the interest that you earn on this. The technical reason why you pay zero taxes on any money you keep in an offset account is because you don't earn any interest. You save the interest that you already owe on the home loan. So it's one of those little nifty products that is very tax advantageous for any home loan mortgagee, really. So let's count it up just to see if it's all here. So I have $500, $750, $1,000, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $2,000, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $3,000, $3,100. So I won't bother getting this out, on a tray. I'll just put it to the side. Now, $3,100 is a lot of money. It really is. It's enough to cover an international return airfare. So while I would love to go traveling with this money, I won't. Why? Because I am very financially conservative. I have said this time and time again on my channel, but, I think I am the most financially conservative of all of the Australian cash stuffers here on YouTube. I believe in having a humongous emergency fund, decent savings, and I believe also that one should deny themselves the fun until that happens. So I know that's a very unpopular thing to say on the internet. And, I get a lot of criticism when I do. I get the emails. Don't worry, I read the emails. But, it doesn't change reality. Everyone knows that we are in a cost of living crisis. And I know some people can weather the storm a little bit better than others, but it helps you when you have a really strong ship. So part of this is building up the funds so that you can weather a pandemic, warfare, the cost of living, being sick. And, if a recession comes, then you've got the money. So I'm going to be responsible with this money. And part of this, and part of the reason why I have this money to stuff today, is because I was adding extra money to my superannuation. So Yeah, again, for all of the regulars. In Australia, we only tax our superannuation at 15 cents per dollar. So that's a 15% tax rate. That is usually a savings for most people who pay income tax, but you can lower your income tax to just 15 cents per dollar if you lock it away in your retirement savings. Of course, the issue with superannuation is that you can't touch your retirement savings until you're 60. But by that time, you've invested, or your super fund has invested your money, and you've created a lot of gains. So I really have a two-pronged approach to my finances. One, aggressively offset the mortgage. Pay it down very, very quickly. I do have a Sydney-sized mortgage. It's huge, yeah, by international standards and by, I think, most Australian standards. By Sydney standards, it's not anything crazy. I feel like if you say to people, oh yeah, these people have $1 million mortgage, or, in Sydney, yeah, no one would blink an eye. No one. Like, I know plenty of people with $1 million on their mortgage. Couples, usually, dual income professionals. But, if you're single like me and, I heard someone say, well, I've got $500,000 on the mortgage, yeah, I would be like, yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, in fact, good work, because it means you've probably paid off, plus your deposit, $200,000 to $300,000 already, $400,000. I know the Sydney property market is pretty extreme, but yeah, that's just what it is for us, reality for us. Anyway, superannuation will be getting $750. So in total, I have $1,000, $2,000, $2,500, $2,750, $3,000, and I might quickly swap this out. So $1,000 for another $1,000. $3,000 in extra superannuation. Now, this money will sit in my offset account, again, just to help the mortgage along until very close to the end of financial year. So I'll get to June of next year, and I will then very reluctantly part from this money from my bank account. $3,000. Bills and utilities is looking pretty healthy. It's getting skipped, and I'm going straight to business. I paid the accountants, so I need to top up this fund again, and I'm putting $300 into the business fund. So I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 20, 30, 35, $535. And again, I'll swap this out. $535. Most of this money has been spent. Yeah, the accounting costs were in the $400 region. So fun. Now, savings. Again, I'm going to get emails. People hate this. Some people actually really like my little financial rants, and thank you if you do, but I do get a lot of people who don't, so just click off here. Again, I think having an emergency fund and healthy savings is the most important thing. Now, I've always been good with money since I was a kid. Yeah, and I've always had a reasonable savings buffer. While I do obviously like to have fun and buy very, very expensive things, I think it's pretty obvious if you are a long-term watcher of my channel that I live quite a nice lifestyle. Obviously, in recent years, I've had to trim it back a little bit given the high cost of the mortgage, but I still manage always to put money aside for savings. I would rather have a decent savings size than have fun, because while, yes, it's nice to splurge, and while, yes, splurging is self-care to some degree, do you know what's worse? Financial stress. Financial stress on your mental health is absolutely awful. I know exactly what it feels like. During COVID, during lockdown, there was one fortnight where I literally only made $360. That's inclusive of GST and pre-tax. So I understand what it's like to be in dire financial stress. And yeah, well, part of me was like, oh, I should do some self-care. No, good God. Not having money is way worse for your mental health than the treat yourself mentality. Again, send all your complaints via email. But the traditional wisdom of savings is that if you have consumer debt, so you're talking credit card, Afterpay, those buy now, pay later things, the first thing you do is you get your emergency fund to $1,000, a bare minimum of $1,000. Why? Because you might have an unexpected expense. So we're talking your fridge breaks down, your washing machine stops working. These are everyday essential items. Yeah, you can't go without a fridge. So while it may not happen during sale season, unfortunately, you need to go out and get a new fridge, or either new or secondhand. Either way, you have to come up with the money for it. So that's where your $1,000 will come in. After you get your $1,000, you aggressively pay down your consumer debt. Now, I see a lot of methods online and, people say there's no right way to do this. Well, no, there is. There is. And I really, really hate it when people say, oh, I'm just going to pay off this debt because I don't like this number more or something. It's financially illogical. Sorry, someone has to say it. You go through your debt and you pay down the one that has the highest interest first, because that way you will save the most money over time. So once you've snowballed your debts, you pay off the highest interest one first, you knock that out, and then you make your way down to the lowest interest one. After all of your consumer debt is gone, you create an emergency fund. Traditional wisdom says that you have to have 3 months of money. So this is 3 months of absolute all expenses. So we're talking your mortgage or your rent, your bills, your utilities, your internet, your hot water, your gas, all of that stuff, your food. Yes? So calculate how much you need to survive every single month. You can throw a bit of fun in there if you like. Yeah, not too much, because it's a subsistence fund. It's an emergency fund. It's not a fun fund. And you do not touch your emergency fund unless the sky is falling. So I currently have $15,000 in my emergency fund. This will cover me for 3 months. So we're talking basic bills, minimum payment on my mortgage, and groceries. Like, I'm not giving myself fun money in this. That'll cover me for 3 months, $15,000. I will be topping this up, I think, at the end of this year or early next year. My goal would be to get to 6 months of subsistence. So I would like to double this. I'd like to have enough money that if the sky fell out again, just like during lockdown, during the pandemic, then I would be able to very, very comfortably breathe. So, yeah, that's what I think finances should be. I think $3,100 is a return airfare ticket to Europe. But nope, no fun. No fun for me. I said so months ago and I'm following through today. Anyway, that was a long-winded bit, but I needed to say that. I'm going to give myself savings of $1,000, an increase today. So I'm going to give this in cash. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 500, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000. It occurred to me that I don't have much cash at home and, who knows what'll happen, but I'd just like to keep it there just in case. So now in my savings, I have 5,000, 6,000, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 7,000, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, $7,500 in my savings. Again, emergency fund has $15,000. Now, although I have been good, I will be giving myself some splurge money. Splurge covers all of my fun, my clothes, shoes, handbag, makeup, haircuts, all of the fun stuff. And quite frankly, most of the unnecessary stuff and some of the necessary things as well. I don't like to keep that many envelopes in my binders. I just find it very hard to keep track. And, if I spend $300 on clothes, I might not budget specifically for clothes. But I'm going to be giving myself just $100. This does also cover things like a small weekend away. So if I'm not going to travel internationally, I might decide to travel domestically. So I now have $1,100, $200, $340. $1,340. Home and miscellaneous. Now, I do treat this fund as, home goods and necessary things that I don't include in my weekly grocery budget. I cover things like toilet paper, hand wash, cleaning supplies, all of that comes out of here, along with things like shampoo, that will come out of here. However, I do like to update my decor every now and then, buy things like cushion covers or, I might get sick of my artwork. It will come out of here, and if it really, really is an unnecessary expense, like I've killed yet another plant, and I don't have enough in my home and miscellaneous, it will come out of splurge. So I'm going to top this up with $200. So now I have 100, 200, 20, 30, 5. I have no gardening skills, so, currently I do have a 100% kill rate for my plants. I like to pretend that I can keep it alive, but, if I bring a plant home, I look at it and I think, you're going to last 3 months. But for those 3 months, you might look good for 2.5. I think I just need to accept my fate and go completely fake. So, the last thing getting any love in this is a bit more financial conservatism. I'm going to put $250 in month ahead, which is my annual leave. I have $1,000, $2,000, $2,250. I do take some time off from my business around Christmas and New Year, so I do need to keep money aside to fund that time off. So that's the bills and sinking funds binder, the adult expenses done. On to fun, actual fun and non-necessary expenses. New phone. Oh, I've been bleeding on about this for a couple of years now, right? I'm going to give this a big one of $200. So now new phone has $1,200. And again, I'm not going to buy a new phone when I get to the end of this savings challenge. I'm going to beat this one to death, and then with the money I will have saved, this will go straight into the emergency fund. I actually considered it an emergency, obviously, if your phone carks it, to get a new one. So it comes out of there, but I expect these things to last between 5 to 7 years, really. So it's actually good to have a plan for when it happens. Christmas is coming up. I'm going to give this $100. So now Christmas has $100, $200, $300, $400, $500. I don't know, with inflation the way that it's at and the cost of everything, I'm not sure $500 will be enough this Christmas. To be honest, I don't want to give it that much more money, but we will see. This savings challenge, I've already got it set at $10 per icon, so I will save $540. I did get away with $540, maybe just under $600 last year for small gifts and food, but this year I'm not sure. And I'm going to start Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. It is my family's biggest celebration of the year. So we did cut back last year as well, but I better get a move on with this one. So I'm going to give this one also $100. I have these icons set at $20 each, so I will need more for New Year than I will need for Christmas. So $100 to get this started off. And my last $100 will be going into Never the Bride. A bit of a joke, but always the bridesmaid kind of thing. I've just gone to a wedding, and the next big one, will be occurring around this time next year. So I would like to get started on this one, to save up for this one. I'm going to get this started with $100. Anyway, that's been my $3,100 redistributed from my taxes. Again, part of me really would love to travel. I do have a travel envelope in here. But it's sat empty for the last year while the interest rate has gone up, the cash rate has gone up, and I do recognise that other parts of the world are cutting interest rates. The US in particular made a pretty big cut recently of 0.5%, but I do not anticipate that Australia will see a rate cut this year at all. I know a lot of people are saying that it might happen, in December or even February of next year, but Australia just didn't raise the interest rates as highly as the UK did, as Canada did, as the US did. And those countries are now at the position where their inflation has come down much faster than ours. Australia's inflation appears to be a bit sticky, which is unfortunate for us, but at the same time, as a small business owner, I do understand that it's the restrictions on lending, obviously by tightening the lending, you can't expand your business as much. And while the media likes to focus a lot on homeowners and mortgage payers, of which I am one, it hurts the business way more to have inflation. So personally, I'm not of the belief that we will see any rate relief anytime soon. So all the more reason to build up the offset account. So if I can't, grow the business as much, I'm going to have to focus on the, personal finances at home. So, yeah. In short, no traveling for me anytime soon. Anyway, I hope you've all been well, and I will catch you next time. Bye.